Hey guys, my name is JessiMew, and welcome back to Adam's Quest. In the last episode, our true leader of the island returned to claim her bluebird feathers, though not before going through a couple of important trials. Things that would surely shape this newfound responsibility that she has, because she found herself all the way on the other end of the island and unfortunately attacked by the leeches in the water. Her trail of shells had gone cold out here, leaving her with no idea of where she was supposed to go next, and she was far too far away to call to her tribe, to ask them to attend to her wounds. All she really had were the bunnies in this area. There are still quite a few of them hopping around, and I think she also has a bit of a newfound love for them too. They stayed with her all night, soothing her poor troubled mind, until Portabella finally noticed that her old friend was waiting far off in the tall grass. Thanks to the help of her mate, of course, who is very curious in his own right. He was just looking for some of those colorful vines to decorate their nests with, but instead they found something much more important. So Lasi came back just in time to take those bluebird feathers from her father. Since this is his very last day, she gets to spend his final night right by his side, telling him all the things she's learned, all of the stories from her journeys far off on the other side of the island, and he can now rest assured that her journey is going to take her closer to their main goal. She's hoping to gather up the rest of the tribe to do some swimming today, because we have other islands that we could possibly hop to. But of course, she is not going to leave anybody behind because she knows the strength of the tribe now. She knows the value that comes with sticking together and always making sure that you have a buddy when you're exploring the waters. Scout is kind of testing his own limits right now. He's trying desperately to impress a very, very pretty creature across the waves. She's been watching him munching on her berries as he tries to claw up some food from the seafloor. He hasn't had much luck so far, but I think he's starting to rope her in a little bit. Maybe she'll come down to the beach too and try to find some food of her own. Unfortunately, the food on the seafloor isn't something that we can sniff out, so we need a little extra luck to stumble our way into it. At the very least, I think we'll move her into the water. She'll be nice and safe here because the ocean is still shallow, and she might even be able to help Scout cross when he's ready. She did a wonderful job teaching our hunting duo how to swim, and let's see if they can sniff out any more bunnies in the grass while they're at it. We have one way over here, so let's have Dusk try to make her way around all of this tall grass. If we can go back to our old plan of trapping the bunnies between us, I think we'll have some better luck. Dusk could probably chase it toward on the shore. We can trap it between us and the water basically, but we'll have to wait until the next turn to grab that meat up for ourselves. And instead we can turn to our warrior family. I think Ruby actually has the opportunity to teach Dracula how to hunt down some moles. If she comes over here, she should be able to light up this patch of grass, so maybe Dracula could jump in and then slap it from behind with his giant claw. It's definitely a good learning exercise for our guardians in a time where the island seems so peaceful. We're still on the calmer portions of the world, so we haven't had to worry about too many berryenas in our way. But I suppose, Toadstool, you should be able to take care of every last one of these berry bushes. Thanks to his double nimble fingers, we don't have to worry about our extra food going to waste by the gluttonous bunnies. But that gives his other brothers some time to explore. I think Spore probably wants to know where his family ran off to. Even though he was kind of left in the hands of his older brothers, he's very, very curious. So Truffle is probably going to follow in his footsteps because he was told to watch after his younger brother, even if that means chasing him into the grass, trying desperately to block his way. Meanwhile, our sneaky jungle family might be ready to start a little brood of their own. Hiroku has found this lovely tree to create his tiny safe haven underneath. It's not quite the same as the jungle that he remembers, but it does at least offer him a little bit of peace in a place that he doesn't enjoy at all. He doesn't like the sand, he doesn't like the sea, he hates the salty smell of the ocean in the air. All he wants is to find a place that reminds him of where he was born. But for now, this will do. He has acorns to keep him full, he has a nest to rest his head, and he has the quiet, dark company of Dart at his side. She has been an ever-constant presence ever since he started off on his journey to make himself a bit stronger, a bit more resilient. I think she's hoping the same for herself. So let's check out their mutation menus, because we want to give them the best chance at healthy babies that we can. The ram horns would definitely be a good thing for us to try to breed into their line, so we'll go ahead and place that in both of one of their slots, just to give it that much more of a extra boost. It does give them +1 in strength, so it'll be super important for us to keep some sort of horns in our tribe in the future. But other than that, I think I might actually like to place the green eyes into her mutation menu. Most of our creatures do just have the black eyes right now, so I thought it was really neat that our little jungle-loving Kiroku had the green eyes to match. So hopefully his family will be able to carry on that trait. We'll go ahead and give it that extra boost by placing it in her other slot, and then we can have Dart make her way over to the nest to hopefully breed with Kiroku. There we go, now you can just use your extra turns to pick up those berries for your babies. The only creature we have left is Pumpkin, who seems to have some extra time to spend with a Toadstool II. So we'll bring her down here to collect some of the grass. It looked like she might even be able to try her hand at digging up some food too. But otherwise, I think we're all out of turns, so let's go ahead and skip the day, and unfortunately say goodbye to Ronuta as he passes. Now it is officially Lasi's time to take on the Alpha rank, and to lead the rest of the tribe to the next island in the ocean. We'll have to figure out which one they want to conquer first. I think it might be this one because it looks like we do have some safe passage right here. Most of our creatures are going to get stuck in the deeper portions of the water because we don't have too many swimming genes yet. So we'll want to make sure that wherever they cross only has one tiny little gap of deep water for them to deal with. That way they're less likely to take that drowning damage. So for now, why don't we have all of these creatures just pick up all this grass, try to clear out this path as best as they can, because we'll need to create a safe pathway for our babies to use. And on that same note, let's see what our new little jungle baby looks like. Oh my gosh, you look so much like your mother. Unfortunately, she doesn't have the green eyes, but she still does look like a little jungle baby, doesn't she? She looks like she's ready to roll around in the mud. She has the claw and the nimble fingers, a baby loved by the Balance sisters, but just as much by her old roots from Adam's family, because she does have those lovely poison fangs. So I think we'll name this little baby Boa, since her snout reminds me of some sort of snake. And then perhaps Kiroku and Dart could consider having another baby, and just like their ancestors, they can contain their home to the space right under this tree. I feel like that's going to be sort of a tradition for this family. They'll make sure that their children know to seek out the trees if they want to find shelter. They don't have any jungle trees to investigate in this world, but they do have plenty to lead their way right up to the swamplands, so something tells me that's what they're going to be looking for on the horizon. Maybe that's the one thing that would entice Kiroku to stick his own feet in the sea. Pumpkin almost looks like she could be part of their family herself, since she does have all of those little mushroom speckles on her fur. Maybe that's why she wants to stick around Toadstool and play with him. We'll have her come over here, though, to try to dig up some of those tasty little morsels on the seafloor, just like her brother Scout was attempting to before. Now that he's fully grown, though, he should be able to make his way across the waves, too. We could bring him all the way down here, and then straight back up to dry land so he's not going to take any damage. And that would certainly impress Lasila. He is quite the swimmer. He actually has the swimming tail on him. He's one of the only creatures in our tribe to carry it at the moment, so he might be a particularly good one to start a family with Lasila. If we bring her up here, in fact, we might be able to create a little nest right along the beach. That way we'll be closer to Splash, and maybe he'll be more likely to give our babies the swimming skills they need. Unfortunately, I don't believe we have access to the swimming tail in our mutation menu. It's in here somewhere, but it was one of the things that we need to travel to new islands to unlock. So I'm not quite sure which island is the one that would unlock this for us, but it's not something we have access to right now. Instead, we'll have to focus on things like the webbed paws or even the webbed hind legs. And I think we're going to go with this one instead. That will give us some extra swimming speed. It will take away from our speed on land, unfortunately, but if these creatures are going to spend more time in the water anyway, I don't think it'll be too much of a problem. That means they'll be able to cross the bigger gaps faster, so they'll be less likely to take drowning damage even without the addition of gills or the water body. So we'll go with the webbed hind legs and hope for little frog-toed babies. That also gives them a better chance of inheriting their father's nimble fingers, and that means they could possibly scoop up some extra shells if they find them in the waves. But as far as his mutation menu goes, I think the only thing I want to add in here are those ram horns again, the only horns we have access to, and then we'll have him use his turn to breed with Lasila so she can set up her little seaside nest and pick some of those last berries. If we do manage to create a little ocean-loving family, I feel like this tiny little island would probably be the best place for them to set up. At least to have more babies of their own, because you can't get much closer to the ocean than this. It's very, very small, but something tells me Splash would appreciate it if anyone was, I guess, brave enough to cross these gaps. Brave enough to battle those currents. Now, as our hunting duo searches for more bunnies, let's see if Ruby and Dracula can sniff out any food of their own. They're far enough away from the bunny burrow now that we should be able to spawn some new little morsels, but I see some moles in the grass as well. Maybe you guys want to go mole hunting again. Since they're traveling in pairs, they shouldn't have to worry about leeches getting in the way. But let's see, is that mole hiding right now? Oh, I think it might actually be hiding. Somebody else must have scared it away. Well, you guys can set up camp. We can clear out this area so you'll at least be able to see when the mole arrives. But now everyone's ready to sleep, so let's go over here and see if we have a little bit of luck with our water babies. Oh my gosh, those are the giant big ears. Oh my goodness, he doesn't have the webbed hind legs, but look at you anyway. Giant satellite ears to hunt down every last bunny on this island. The hunters are going to love you. You are going to be the biggest help when it comes to finding all these little guys. And in fact, Dusk, you might want to scoot over here right away to grab this bunny. And it looks like we have a leech over here too, eyeing up our babies. No, this won't do. Lasila is definitely going to swipe you up before you get too close. We don't want anything harming our little big-eared prince. With his bright orange color and his lack of water genes, I feel like Sundrop might actually be a good name for him. He is definitely more suited to the sunny shores, and he looks like a little summer baby to me. So although he may not have been the most successful water baby, he is still going to be super, super helpful. We'll have them breed again to try their luck one more time, but first, it looks as if Anime may have finally blessed one of our babies. Oh, don't you look majestic with those poison fangs and the ram horns too, and the green eyes, excellent. So she inherited that from her father? That means that she must have a bit of a stronger connection to the jungles as well. So just like her sister, we'll name them after snakes. And this little baby will be Anaconda. It is quite interesting that Anime has chosen this family to spread her own legacy. Most of the other babies were born without the ramhorn crown. Spore, in fact, is the only other one in this generation to inherit that from his parents. And he's still making his way deep into the grass, trying desperately to find his parents. Though we do have a mole for somebody to collect, so maybe Truffle would be a bit more interested in scooping up the extra food. And likewise, I wonder if Pumpkin learned enough from her mother's lessons. She wasn't exactly paying attention because she was playing around with Toadstool, but maybe she can impress him by sneaking up on this mole and grabbing it from behind. So now we have some extra food for him to gather up too. They're kind of the last ones holding down the fort over here, so at least they have plenty of food. And now Truffle should be able to try his luck at scooping up a mole as well, but that leaves his little brother with plenty of time to go darting back off into the grass. Now he's close enough to his parents that he shouldn't have to worry too much. We could even bring Camo over here to pick up some of the pathway, and then Lasi will need to join him, because I think she's going to want to check up on her brother as well. Especially now that their father has passed. She'll have to tell him the news, of course, so they'll both have the chance to mourn over Ronuta, and she'll get the opportunity to meet his new little family as well. She'll have to ask him too if he's planning on moving on with them. She doesn't want to leave anyone behind, but she also doesn't want to force these creatures to ship off to new islands if it's not something they see in their future. She didn't know her brother well, but she does understand that his heart lies in a different place, Just like hers did, she knew that she had to make her own journeys far off into the wilderness before she would be happy. And since he doesn't seem to enjoy the islands too much, she figures he might just prefer to stay here in his own crafted safe haven, where he's sure that he'll be able to live out the rest of his life in peace. But his whole point of coming out here was just to make up for the faults that his father saw in him, to try to make himself stronger, strong enough to take on the hardiest of moles. So again, with his eyes to the horizon, looking at all of those distant trees that might just harbor another safe haven beneath them, he thinks he's ready to take the journey with his sister. He'll pack up his family too, and they'll see if they can create a home fit for the jungle-loving side of the tribe. Now the last of our turns can go to our new little water babies. We'll bring Scout up here to make room for one last nest on the beach, and then with berries in hand, they should all be ready to curl up to sleep and skip the day. And I think I actually see... Oh, is that your little bunny friend coming back to say hi to you? Well, maybe. Unfortunately, it seems like the bunny is not too aware that Lasi is trying to speak to her own family right now. I think the bunny was a little bit nervous of Portabella. It wasn't quite sure if she was going to end up being a friend or a foe, and probably for good reason. Bella does love her exotic food, so she probably tries to keep bunny meat on hand. But you're lucky today because she has enough berries here to keep her occupied. We'll go ahead and scoop up as many as we possibly can since the rains have given us quite the harvest. We'll have to make sure that Bella and Camo breed one last time too, because Camo is getting pretty close to the end of his life. So maybe we could have one final mushroom baby between them. Since Portabella does have that very special home island gene, we'll see if she can have one more baby to keep it strong. Now for the ever-adventurous Ramhorn Spore, this is the perfect time for him to prove himself because he has his final gem at his disposal. So we'll use his energy to clear out the grass, make sure that everybody can pass freely so we can hopefully get to work on this swimming journey soon. Helping out is an easy way to gain Lasi's trust, because she has more than enough to keep her occupied, so she would never turn down a helping hand. We'll want to swap out the Swamp Dweller's gems for the yellow color that their father has, and I'm sure that'll make it easier for them to stick together as well. Pumpkin and Toadstool have kind of gotten away from themselves too. Something tells me there's a bit more of a connection between them than we initially believed. They have certainly forgotten about all of their duties in each other's company. So instead of following after their family at this point, they might find it easier to join up with our water-loving babies on the shore, and our newest little baby in the nest too. Oh, look at that, she has the mask again! Unfortunately, no frog toes though. The one saving grace is that she does have the swimming tail in her inactive traits, so maybe that's something she could pass on to her babies. So she might not be suited to those long swimming journeys that we were hoping for this family, but something tells me, just like her mother, that's not going to deter her too much. I think we'll actually name this little baby Delta, and then I wanted to make sure we were giving their babies the blue gems, because whether or not they were made for the sea, they still take great pride in following in Splash's ways. So if nothing else, this will be the founders of what will potentially be our water line in the future. Now while Little Sundrop's family focuses on all of the berries that they have to collect, I think he's going to want to make his way out of the nest. Maybe see what those hunters are up to, because all of that action would surely draw his attention. So as he toddles away from his parents, Dusk could swoop in to make sure he's safe, clear out all the grass around him, and then watch on as her brother stalks one of the morsels in the grass. This will be a great learning experience for Sundrop to maybe pick up on some of their techniques. That bunny definitely knows that we're in the area though, and it has some friends too. Oh, if only Sundrop was a little bit older, he might be able to help, but I think all we can really do right now is settle Vanta right down in the grass and get ready for the next turn. It's a bit unfortunate that he's so far away, because I don't think he realizes that his sister is feeling very, very weak today. It's going to be her last day on the island, so perhaps she could pass on the role of hunting to little Sundrop. Even though he's very young, she sees a lot of potential in those big giant ears, so he can carry her final wish to Vanta when he grows. Thankfully, he won't have very long to wait, because as we skip the day, he should be gaining his second gem, and then he'll be ready to hunt some bunnies. It looks like quite a few of our creatures might have some bunnies to hunt down. Do we still have a lot of bunnies hopping around back here too? Oh, wait a second. We have a bearyena, but also what seems to be another one of the bearyena cubs. Oh, that is perfect. I wonder if they followed us to this island, or if it's a new trial that Animeme has thrown our way. It's not too good for you guys, though, because Portabella, of course, is ready to settle herself down in a nest, but this is not a good place to bring a baby to the island. So it's time for her to sound the alarm. We'll bring her way down here where it's much, much safer, and then it'll be time for Lasi to gather up some of her guardians, of course, her loyal guardians to vanquish the bearyena in the grass. We'll bring her up first, as the leader and the spearhead of the operation, but Ruby and Dracula will not be far behind. In fact, Kiroku might be able to light up the way for them a little bit more. He could pick up some of the grass so they can move freely just in case somebody needs to escape. So where exactly is this beast? Right here in the grass, lurking so very close to our tribe. That means if we move Dracula up here, he should be able to land a pretty good hit on the mother bearyena herself. She has 13 days left on her lifespan, and with our steady supply of poison fangs, I think we'll be able to get rid of her pretty easily. So in the next episode, it seems we'll have a bit of a different situation on our hands. Something we weren't quite expecting to deal with, which of course is this tiny little baby bearyena that will surely be toddling all around this island. Our tribe really hasn't had the greatest experience with bearyenas to begin with. Ruby is the only one who has ever seen a bearyena this close before, so hopefully her experience will be enough to keep our tribe safe and finally prove to herself once and for all that she is truly guardian material. But for now, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye guys!